The movie introduces us to the inspiring and hardworking protagonist, Hinata Hanazawa. She is an outstanding honors student who takes her studies seriously and strives to achieve excellence in everything she does. Hinata's unwavering dedication to her education is matched only by her love and devotion to her family. She has two best friends, Max and Susie. Max has had a secret crush on Hinata ever since their childhood, but she is oblivious to this. Hinata's parents own a lively and bustling restaurant, and they work tirelessly to ensure their customers are happy and satisfied. As a result, Hinata often finds herself looking after her younger sister, who is fascinated by romantic movies and fairy tales. One evening, while tucking her sister into bed, Hinata tells her the classic story of Cinderella. Her sister, however, seems more interested in a romantic movie playing on the television. Suddenly, she points to the screen and exclaims that the male lead looks just like Hinata's Prince Charming. Hearing this, Hinata starts blushing, and we realize that she's secretly in love with the male lead. His name is Katie Iase, a famous teen actor, and a member of a well-known boy band in Japan. Iase's good looks, charm, and talent have earned him a massive fan following, particularly among teenage girls who adore him. Hinata yearns for a fairy tale-like romance with Iase, but she keeps her feelings a secret from her friends, including her best friends, Max and Susie. Despite her academic achievements, Hinata's fantasy world revolves around Iase's movies, dramas, and music videos. She spends her free time daydreaming about him and imagining what it would be like to meet him in person. One day, her pleas are finally heard. Hinata gets a call from her friend Susie, informing her that the superstar Iase is coming to film a movie at their high school. In fact, he is looking for some extras, and all the students are eligible to participate. Hearing all this, Hinata starts jumping with joy, and she gladly tells Susie to add her name to the list as well. The following day at school, Hinata and Susie, along with the other selected students, are lined up. They are asked to act as normal students working in a laboratory. While Susie shows off how excited she is to meet the pop star Iase, Hinata contains herself, showing no signs of any excitement in front of her friend. As the girls arrive at the lab for the movie shoot, Hinata bumps into Iase himself, causing her to become starstruck. The latter quickly apologizes and moves on with the shoot, but Hinata remains in a state of shock at the fact that she just touched her celebrity crush. Iase notices her from afar and smiles at her, leaving Hinata even more perplexed. After the shoot, Susie asks Hinata if she saw Iase up close. Hinata maintains her appearance of disinterest and says that she didn't bother to notice him. Susie then advises her to get an up-close look at him, as he is such a handsome and dashing boy. One weekend, Hinata decides to enjoy some time alone, so she visits a nearby park. After relaxing for a while, she goes to the mall as she promised her little sister she would bring a teddy bear home for her. In the next scene, Hinata walks inside an arcade and attempts to win a teddy bear at the claw vending machine. After multiple attempts, she is left with one last coin to play the game. Meanwhile, an unknown boy who has been watching Hinata struggle approaches her from behind. He then gives her guiding instructions, with which she is finally able to retrieve the teddy bear. This delights Hinata, and when she turns around to thank the boy, she discovers that he is none other than her idol, Iase himself. As expected, Hinata is shocked to the core, but Iase is calm and looks different than his usual pop star self. Out of surprise, Hinata screams his name in public, grabbing the attention of nearby fans. In response, Iase then grabs her hand and runs away from the mall. Once they arrive at a safe location, Iase says that he doesn't want to be the center of attention. He simply wants to have a social life and make some good friends. Hinata doesn't know what to say, but instead abruptly leaves, realizing that she is late for a movie. In a sprint to reach the theater, her heels break, but nonetheless, she reaches her destination. There she swears to never wash her hand, as it was grabbed by her idol. Surprisingly, Iase follows her to the movie hall, and they chat for a while. Hinata says she likes old romance movies, as they are very sweet and charming. This is why she loves the story of Cinderella so much. Iase then takes off his shoes and offers them to her, because her heels are broken. Hinata doesn't want to take them, but after a lot of insisting, she agrees. After she says thank you, Iase bids her goodbye and leaves. The next day, he makes another surprise visit to Hinata's class. While every fangirl is screaming at his presence, Iase's eyes are set only on Hinata. He then approaches her, bringing her a new pair of shoes. Everyone around her, including her best friend Max and Susie, are gobsmacked by this. Iase then puts the new shoes on Hinata, saying that it is just like the fairy tale, as she wanted it to be. Later, Hinata follows him outside the school building to return his shoes from the other day. She then thanks him once again. Before parting ways, though, Ice writes his number on Hinana's hand, and tells her to call him, and at least reveal her name. That night, she looks at her hand and blushes to herself. She then calls the number written on it, hoping to finally tell Ice her name. Sadly, the number is unavailable at the moment. Meanwhile, Ice is hanging out with his ex-girlfriend Daisy, who is also a famous actress. They don't have any hard feelings between them, and are enjoying some time together, as they are going to be co-starring in an upcoming movie. The following day, Hinana angrily washes away Iace's phone number written on her wrist. She believes that he is just playing with her feelings. Elsewhere, Iace is waiting in his van for a scene to shoot. His manager gives him a little advice, saying that Iace should always think wisely before doing anything in public. As an actor, it's very important how the public views him, and any negative publicity could jeopardize his career. However, Iace isn't listening to his manager as he spots Hinana on the streets. He then quickly gets off his van and approaches her. Iace is concerned that she didn't call him the other day, but Hinana shows him the call logs on her phone, explaining that she tried to contact him multiple times. Iace then realizes he must have given her his old phone number, so he proceeds to save his new number on her phone. But our girl is already heartbroken, so she snatches her phone away and warns him not to play with her feelings. She confesses to liking him before, but now she isn't interested in him. As Hinana walks away, Iace asserts that it's good to have expectations before grabbing her face and kissing her. Hinana is taken aback by the sudden kiss and doesn't say a word. Iace then confesses that he always wanted to know her name since he was attracted to her from the very first time they bumped into each other. This melts Hinana, so she finally discloses her name. The scene then skips to the following day. Hinana is dressed up in a cute midi for a date, and Iace arrives to pick her up in his van. Hinana is curious where they are going, but her idol asks her to wait and see. Next up, Hinana is amazed as Iace takes her to his lavish apartment. She has never been in such large home, and he has never brought a girl into his home. The two chat for a while and relax together watching a romantic movie. Iace then falls asleep on Hinana's shoulder. After a while, his manager shows up, equally surprised and confused upon seeing Hinana. When asked about the girl, Iace claims that she is his girlfriend, once again startling the manager as well as Hinana herself. After she leaves the premises, the manager continues to lecture Iace on maintaining his public persona and disapproves of his new relationship with Hinana. He is worried that Iace fans would be devastated if he were dating, and that the public might react negatively, especially since Hinana is just a schoolgirl from a much lower social status. Regardless, our pop star is indifferent as he claims that he likes her very much. The next day at school, Hinana gets a text message from Iace informing her that he won't be able to chat with her much for a couple of days since he will be busy shooting a new film. This makes her sad, as she desperately longs to be with him. Over the weekend, Hinana helps her male best friend Max in his father's flower shop. The latter casually confesses his love for Hinana, but she doesn't take him seriously. Just then, Max gets an order for a bouquet from a certain film company. When Hinana delivers the flowers to the location, it turns out to be the set of Iace's new film. She witnesses him kissing the female lead, who is revealed to be Iace's ex-girlfriend Daisy. Although it's part of the movie, Hinana is heartbroken to see her idol kiss somebody else. Just as she is about to leave the set, Iace notices her and goes after her. He takes her to a private place and tells her not to worry about the film. He then kisses her nose, claiming that from now on, no one else can be close to Hinana either. Meanwhile, Daisy watches them from behind and isn't happy about Iace's new love interest. Later when she returns home, Hinana gets a call from Iace asking her if she wants to go out on another date with him. Hinana politely declines, since she is celebrating Max's birthday at home. Next, Susie encourages Max to seriously confess his feelings for Hinana. Max is very nervous as the last time he did, she dismissed him. The friends then gather around and sit together to celebrate Max's birthday. Suddenly, Iace arrives at the premises, surprising everyone, especially Hinana. He joins them and reveals that he and Hinana are dating. Although Susie reacts positively, Max is heartbroken. Later when the two boys are alone, Max asks Iace if he is serious about Hinana. Otherwise, he shouldn't get too close to her. Realizing that Max also likes her, Iace asserts that he is pretty serious about Hinana. Regardless, Max isn't going to give up easily. The next day, Hinana visits Iace's apartment, but she is taken by surprise when a half-naked Iace walks out of the bathroom. She quickly closes her eyes, and the pop star starts flirting with this girl. The two then spend some quality time together. Iace takes things to a new level when he gives the key to his apartment to Hinana, and welcomes her to stop by when she feels alone. Hinana's happiness knows no boundary. One afternoon, Iace gets shunned by his bandmates and ends up having lunch alone. This breaks his heart, as they used to be best friends. Later that evening, he lies on the couch and reminisces about the times he spent with his friends. The movie goes into a flashback, and we learn that Iace decided to leave the band as he wanted to focus more on his acting career. This is what caused the rift amongst the group. It was a terrible loss for the band since Iace was the most popular among them. The following day, Hinana visits her boyfriend's place as usual. She isn't let in, so she uses the key Iace gave her the other day. However, when she goes inside, she sees a pair of heels. To her surprise, Hinana sees Iace kissing his ex-girlfriend, Daisy. Heartbroken, she immediately storms out of the place and Iace chases her. But Hinana is in no mood to discuss any matters with him. She then accuses him of playing with her feelings before walking away. For days, Hinana is severely affected and doesn't leave her house. Max learns about the situation and pays for a visit. He hugs her from behind, advising her to stop thinking about Iace, as he is only making her suffer. Max then finally confesses his feelings to her, which surprises Hinana. She never saw him as anything more than a best friend. When she doesn't respond, Max gives her some space, understanding her complex situation. One day at school, Daisy visits Hinana, and the two girls sit by a lake to talk about the recent development between them. Daisy wants Hinana to stop seeing Iace since she wants to be with him. The latter reluctantly agrees, realizing that she is no match for a beautiful and talented actress like Daisy. She also realizes that there is a huge social status difference between her and Iace. However, Daisy gives in and reveals the truth. It turns out Iace rejected her the other day, when she begged him to give their relationship another chance. Also, she was the one who kissed Iace, not the other way around. Daisy realizes Hinana loves him more than she does, so she decides not to come between them. Hearing all this, Hinana understands she was too harsh on Iace, so she decides to make things right with him. Later that night, Iace visits her place and apologizes for the other day. He tells her that he only likes her, not Daisy. Hinana also apologizes for not listening to his side of the story. The two reconcile, and the following day, Iace rents an entire amusement park for Hinana. They play all the games and spend quality time together. As time passes by, their love only grows deeper and they explore new places, go to movies, and spend weekends at home together. However, a problem soon arises when the news media releases negative press about Iace. Hinana watches the news at home, where a reporter reveals that Iace has been dating a schoolgirl, which is against the law. Although her face is obscured, Iace is in big trouble, and this could jeopardize his career. Elsewhere, just as he is heading to meet Hinana with a birthday gift, Iace is informed about by his manager. Our female protagonist starts fretting and calls Iace, but he is surrounded by media, asking him if the rumors are true. Afraid of the consequences, Iace doesn't say anything at the moment. The following day, his manager pays a visit to Hinana, begging her to stay away from Iace. The false information about Iace exploiting a schoolgirl could destroy his career. Later that night, Hinana thinks about what the manager said and finally makes a decision. She meets with Iace and decides to break up with him. Hinana believes that she is the reason why all of this is happening to Iace, so she wants to end their little fairy tale and reflect on the reality. For the next few days, both lovers go through a rough patch as they cannot forget about each other. The movie then skips to 3 years later. Iace is now an internationally known actor. One day, while celebrating after receiving a global award, his manager hands him a letter written by Max. In the letter, Max explains that ever since he and Hinana broke up, Hinana has been watching Iace movies day and night. She misses him so much that every time Max and she went out, she would stop by a billboard to see Iace's face. Hence, Max wants him to reconcile with Hinana. In the letter, there is also a movie ticket attached to it, to which Max wants Iace to go to. Meanwhile, he hands over another ticket to Hinana. However, when Iace arrives at the theater, the show has already ended. Dejected, he proceeds to go home, only to bump into Hinana in the hall. The two finally see each other again after 3 long years. Iace then says that he promised himself that one day, once he became a man and worthy of her love, he would return to her. Hinana cries happy tears after seeing Iace in person. He then gives her a gift, which turns out to be a shiny pair of shoes, just like Cinderella's. The movie ends as Iace asks Hinana to marry him, to which she happily says yes. Thanks for watching this recap. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next movie recaps. Stay tuned for more exciting recaps.